Morning, class 12. Today I'm here again with the events of the Cold War. The beginning of the Cold War, you can see 1948, that's the Berlin blockade. Okay, now Berlin blockade, what is it? The meaning of blockade? Blockade meaning to stop. Okay, over here now, Berlin, that is the capital of Germany. Okay, so USSR tries to, establish their control over the entire of Berlin. Okay, as they had, control only over the East Berlin. Okay, so now they wanted entire Berlin to come under their control. Okay, so they started blocking the supply lines. Okay, that is the route. There's no trains going there, no buses. Okay, they could reach that. Okay, as I already said, because USSR wanted the control of entire Berlin, they had they had control of the Berlin only over east. Okay, so USSR wanted control of entire Berlin, and Stalin, who was then the ruler of Russia, okay, stopped the supply route. All the air buses, no trains could reach there. USA and UK airdropped supplies. Airdrop supplies means all the food materials, all that was needed, okay, that was dropped by the air by USA. Okay, at least there were 2 lakh flights to supply, okay, all those material, that is food materials, okay, to the people of East Berlin. Okay, because West Berlin was under the control of your USA. Okay, because that was all decided in your Yalta and the Potsdam conference. Okay, the division of Germany into 4 occupational zones. Okay, half that was east, that was controlled by your USSR, and the other part, that was the west, Germany, that was controlled by USA, France, and UK. Okay, so you can see, finally, of course, Germany officially split into 2 countries, that is East Germany and West Germany, okay, in 1949. So you can see the map of your Germany, that's divided. Okay, East Germany and your West Germany. Okay, whereas you have the shaded with the light green, that is your East Germany, under the control of your control of USSR, and West Germany under control of your control of your West USA. Similarly, Berlin also, you can see here the capital. Okay, that's also divided into East Berlin and West Berlin. Okay, so USSR did not want the control of the West Berlin, okay, by USA, wanted the entire Berlin. Therefore, you have the Berlin blockade that is taking place, and that is basically the supply lines were all blocked. Okay, now next, this Berlin blockade, it leads to your by US, it leads to the formation of NATO. Okay, that is Non-Atlantic Treaty Organization, that is your military organization that was established by your US. Okay, and then you see all the countries, okay, over the allies of USA formed NATO, and as I said, and USSR, of course, we have one more pact that was signed, that is called the Warsaw Pact. Okay, we'll come to that later on, and that was the pact that was signed by all the Eastern European countries under USSR. Okay, and China, of course, a communist country, also fell under the communist power, okay, supporting USSR, and therefore you have the first People's Republic of China, okay, being formed in China, okay, as a communist country. Now, USSR detonated its first nuclear weapon. Now, what does it mean here? Now, USSR until then, now, okay, because it was 1945, the first time, okay, that a nuclear weapon was used only by USA, and that too in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay, but now USSR also had become equally competent as USA, and now had and owned the nuclear weapon. Okay, so both sides now had nuclear weapons, and USSR had already established its satellite states. Okay, and the major foreign policy also now started controlling over the Eastern European countries, because they also owned their nuclear weapons. So many communist government now came up in the East and Central Europe under USSR. Okay, now by 1950, so that is the contours were clear. Okay, that means everyone could see now. Okay, it had become clear that 2 sides were at war with open conflict, as we already see. Okay, and of course it was an ideological war we call the battle of principles. Okay, capitalism, consumerism, democracy, that is the economic policy of USA, versus communism, socialism, and totalitarianism. Okay, that's the form of government which USSR followed, and totalitarianism, as we call an autocratic, okay, autocratic dictatorship. Okay, and totalitarian, that also under Stalin was more than a dictator, that is only control over controlled the state by one person. Okay, so that was how your it was already clear by 1950 that yes, this is a Cold War, and everyone, all people, all over the world had now been clear that okay, the two countries war in war, was in a warring condition. Okay, it was a Cold War, and it was basically the battle of ideologies. Okay, now you have the nuclear angle. Okay, that is what it's called, because this leads to your nuclear angle war. And as I already mentioned here, okay, in 1945 it was the first US only having the a nuclear weapon, but now we also have USSR. Therefore that comes as your another superpower, and that's how after World War II we have two superpowers. Now, first time in human history a weapon so potent, it was so very destructive, okay, that it could finish the earth not only once but several times. Okay, and that was developed by both the countries, that is US and USSR. Now, deterrent, that led to deterrent. Deterrent means Cold War did not turn hot. Okay, only if one country, US only had, okay, if only US had if we had the nuclear weapon and USSR did not have, then obviously USA could easily win over USSR. But now both the parties having, okay, nuclear weapon, okay, they did not allow each to turn deterrent. That means it stopped because USA knew that USSR also has a nuclear weapon. So this Cold War did not turn hot, and that means there was no open hostility. Annihilation, extinction of human race, because if that happened, then both the nuclear weapons could have made the human race extinct, as I already said. Now, that was only the nuclear weapon, as we called, okay, where in Nagasaki and Hiroshima we see that from the flight, okay, where your American planes that hovered around Japan, and they had dropped the bombs from there. That means they had to carry the nuclear bomb and then drop it. Okay, that was the manual thing. But here now in this Cold War situation, we have the ballistic missiles, and ballistic missiles, that means that could travel long distances. Okay, launch missiles even at a longer distance. Okay, so that was here from one place. Okay, you can install a missile, okay, and it can cover thousands of kilometers and can destroy that place. So that was the ballistic missiles. That was what was happening here, and that is exactly happened in the Cuban Missile Crisis, because that nuclear weapons had been installed in Cuba, and that from there that was the backyard of America, and American could have been easily destroyed if USSR had USSR had launched the nuclear weapon. Okay, so that is the ballistic missiles. Okay, so please have that in mind, children. Nuclear weapons, yes, both the countries now had. Earlier only USA had, because they had to carry the nuclear bombs and they had dropped it in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But now it is a condition where you have ballistic missile. That means you launch in one place and can travel thousands of kilometers to destroy a particular country. Also, that was what we call as mutually assured destruction. MAD. That means you can easily destroy both the countries. Okay, so that is what led to. Now, as we talked about yesterday, that how the countries were involved. The Cold War means they were involved in the proxy wars. Literally, both the countries did not fight against one another, but they helped, because of the ideologies, they helped those countries, okay, who believed in that ideology. Okay, so the first proxy war that was fought between US and USSR, okay, was in Korea, okay, where you have the civil war between North Korea and South Korea. You can have a look of the picture here, 38th parallel, that is the division, okay, 30th parallel latitude, where you had the division of North Korea and South Korea. Okay, so then South Korea, okay, was captured by your America and had the capitalistic economy, whereas North Korea, that was a USSR, okay, and had established a communist government here. Okay, but still we can see that the war did not become that instant, because the war came to a stalemate and no country could push back each other. So they were there as, okay, they had occupied. Okay, so this is a proxy war that was fought by America and USA and USSR for the first time. Okay, that's the Korean War. Then with this, you have USSR and PRC, that is People's Republic of China, that is backed North Korea and attacked South Korea, that was backed by your USSR. Okay, they were supplying arms, ammunitions, and they were training the soldiers here to fight against one another. So that was a civil war there. Okay, that is fought between in the country between two parties, that is South Korea and North Korea. USA and allies came to the aid of South, and a stalemate had ensued. Okay, that means the stalemate condition continued. That means there was no further going on. Now the most important another philosophy, okay, or the policy that came up, okay, was the domino theory. Okay, and anyhow, the communism had to stop. Okay, before the Korean War, we have this is called the domino theory. Now policy makers, they thought, okay, what did they think here? Now you can see several countries here in Asia: China, Korea, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia. Okay, so if one country turns into your communist country, then all the other countries will follow their line. Okay, so same, it did happen, because China turned into a communist country, then Korea did turn into a communist country. Okay, then after that we have Vietnam also did turn, and Laos and Cambodia. Okay, so then initially, okay, if they were not stopped, okay, if the containment had not have happened, then it had taken over the whole of Asia, because Southeast Asia had already taken China, Korea, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia. Then Thailand, Malaya, Indonesia, Burma, and India would surely had become your communist country. Okay, so in order to stop this, okay, they took a stance in Korea itself, and that was why the Korean War was fought, okay, in Korea. And that is why USA and USSR supported Korea, so that this domino theory could take place, so that all these remaining countries from Cambodia, from there Thailand, Malaya, Indonesia, Burma, and India does not turn into a communist country. Okay, children, so this was today we talked about your events that were started. Okay, that was your Berlin blockade. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to come more of the events. Okay, and not the events, but the decades of your Cold War. Okay, the decades of the Cold War starting from 1950s. Okay, children, so please go through it. Okay, understand it, and please make a note of it and send it as an assignment. Thank you, children.